Hello, welcome back to Advice for Ages. I hope you all enjoyed the past few videos, and I hope you will enjoy the one we are putting out today. We will be interviewing Jacob Andrews. He is a middle school band teacher, and I have learned some valuable lessons from him, and I hope you do the same. Quickly tell us a little bit about you and what you do now.
So I grew up in the Midwest. I've grown up in Kansas my whole life. I grew up in a little town called New Cambria. Went to school at Solomon High School. Graduated from Kansas Wesleyan in Salina. I taught down in southeast Kansas for a couple of years, and then I moved back and taught in Chapman, and now I teach in Salina. I teach band. I've primarily only ever taught band, and I taught choir for a couple of years.
If you have free time, what do you do in that time?
So in my free time currently, I'm chasing around a 5-year-old who keeps me pretty active. If I get some alone time, I try to get out and go golfing. I kind of consider myself a very amateur woodworker. I like doing things with my hands.
Cool. That sounds interesting. Have you made anything cool in the past year?
So I made my kid a storage device to put all of his tractors on. He loves tractors, so that's kind of been the biggest project I've ever made. It was just a big storage rack for him to put all his toys in.
Cool, that sounds awesome. Well, what was your life like when you were 14?
When I was 14, I was just entering into high school. I was the class president, and I was trying to experiment with different classes, different avenues for things to do. I played football. I was the basketball manager, and I also did track my freshman year. I did journalism. I did art, and I think I did one semester of facts. I can't remember for sure if I did that my 8th grade year or my freshman year. But I was trying to experiment with a lot of things and kind of figure out what I enjoyed outside of band and choir.
Did you find any of these that you definitely enjoyed more than others, and do you have reasonings for that?
Well, obviously I enjoyed the music because I'm a band director. I would say I figured out what I didn't like. I really didn't like doing the yearbook. Taking pictures, I'm really horrible at taking pictures. My wife does all the photography of all of our kids' events. And I didn't really enjoy writing articles about the pictures. It wasn't something that captured my interest. I really enjoyed art, but the problem that I found with art for me was I invested a lot of time into something and I was always tweaking it to be better. And I could never find that sweet spot of saying, okay, this is good enough, I'm ready to move on. So I felt like I was investing a lot of my life into something, and I wanted to find that balance. And music has always been that for me. I can say, okay, this is good enough to perform, I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that, with the yearbook especially. That's kind of the same experience that I'm having with it. Were there any other coaches, teachers, or anybody that helped you along the way that made a positive impact in your life in some way?
Sure. So my first 2 years of high school, we had this English teacher who was fresh out of high school or college, sorry. And he made English fun. I always enjoyed English in school. I almost became an English teacher. And he was very relatable. He was very exciting. He was fun to be around. And he just made learning fun. And he left at the end of my sophomore year. In my junior year, we got a band director who was the same exact way. He was young, he was interesting, he was fun, he was engaging. And he's the one who sent me down the path of being a band director. And I remember he always told me that you have to relate with others because the content doesn't matter. Making good human beings is what matters the most.
I think that's really nice that he was able to give, both of them were able to kind of help you figure out where you were going. And I feel like that's really important for a teacher to do. And I feel like in your class, you did a really good job of that. Is there anything that made you different from your friends when you were 14?
Yes, there's a lot of things that made me different. When you grow up in small town Kansas, there's not a lot of things to do other than to get in a lot of trouble. And a lot of my friends were really good at getting in trouble, and I chose to not live that kind of a life. So I would spend a lot of Friday nights in my room playing video games. But I remember my dad told me that I could do whatever I wanted in my life, but if those choices led to me getting in trouble with law enforcement or jeopardizing my college career or high school career, that he wouldn't bail me out. Those were my choices, and I'd have to own them. And that was enough. That put enough fear in me to make good decisions in my life.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. So that obviously had a effect on your life that kind of showed you which way you wanted to go. Is there anything you wish you had done differently?
I would not change anything from my past. I have a lot of mistakes that I've made in my life, but all of those mistakes and learning experiences that I have made me into the person that I am. And I am very fortunate that I have a very, there it is, a very loving wife right there. I have a wonderful son, and if I changed anything in my past, I may not have them in my life, and I would never risk that. And I'm very happy with who I am, and I cherish all of those experiences in my life that made me who I am.
At any point in your life, did you think, hey, I want to go out and just hang out for 10 years before I settle down a little bit more?
So when I got out of college, I knew I always wanted a family. And I also knew that once I had a family, I don't want to say my wild years were going to be cut out, but it was going to be a whole new set of adventures. So, yes, when I got out of college, I met a guy. I actually worked with him. He was an avid backpacker overseas, and he actually taught me how to backpack. We went to Spain for 2 years, and we backpacked around the country, and that was an amazing experience. So yes, I did get to do a lot of, the single life things when I was younger, but a lot of those were a lot of those experiences. While I wouldn't give them up, have never paled in comparison to to having a family and to getting to enjoy those experiences. So my advice is yes, when you get out of college, don't start a family right away. Have a significant other if you'd like, but definitely don't tie yourself down to a family yet. Enjoy life, experience life, and you have plenty of time to start a family when you get older.
Now, you said you backpacked for a while. Did you learn any lessons while you were out backpacking?
I did. I'll tell you that there is nothing more humbling than being a foreigner yourself. When I was over in Spain, short story, we were trying to get train tickets, and we didn't speak Spanish at all, and we were having issues getting tickets. And this gentleman, he was the VP of Sony sales there in Spain. He came up and he's like, "Hey, I see you guys are having issues. I speak English. Can I help you guys out?" And we're like, "We'd love to have your help." And he helped us through that experience, and it was very humbling to get outside of Kansas bubble, American bubble, and be a foreigner in somebody else's home country and to learn other cultures. And I think that has done more for me than anything in how to interact with other people, because until you've been in somebody else's shoes, you don't know what it feels like, and it's a quite an amazing experience.
Is there anything you would like to ask me about this interview process or anything like that before we finish with the...
So, what are some of the lessons that you've learned from all the interviews that you've been doing?
A common theme among what everybody has said was be yourself, and I kind of think that's true. And another thing a lot of people have said is try everything you want to and figure out the things you like and don't like. And I think that's really a good way to say it because you won't get anywhere if you don't try.
You're about to leave eighth grade and you're about to go into high school. What are some experiences that you're looking forward to in high school?
I feel like I'm gonna meet a lot more people, and I'm gonna have a lot more experiences that I will get to do otherwise, like more school trips. I don't know like how it is like, but I know they have further school trips that you can sign up for if you're in specific classes, harder classes. You can. There's a lot of more variety to everything you can do. I feel like, and I'm looking forward to that. More things to try.
And that's kind of the nice thing about our school system here is we have a ton that we can offer kids, and we kind of pride ourselves on that. And that would be a piece of advice I have for you. So I have one more question for you. What do you think you are going to have to do to really push yourself to get out of your own bubble and to really push yourself beyond your limits?
So, for me, I feel like one thing that I'm really gonna have to do is figure out what matters to me. Because if I figured out what matters to me and what I need to do, I will realize, hey, it doesn't matter if I get out of my comfort zone. I can do this because I kind of need to do it or something. And more, this could be fun. And the hypotheticals rather than having the real evidence, more the, hey, try this. It might or might not work out. You could get it. And see the maybes instead of just going for the guarantee, like only looking at the pros and cons, looking at the this might happen to see, take chances. And time for the last question of the day. If you want a billboard that every 14-year-old would see, what would you want it to say?
Be your own self. I've been teaching. This is my 11th year of teaching, and kids have times have changed, but kids have not changed. From the very first day that I've taught, and I'm about to wrap up my 11th year, I see it every year, time and time again. Kids will let other people influence who they are. And in today's society where we have TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever it's called, um, Snapchat, all of the different social media platforms, we're all looking for that next greatest big thing. We all want our 15 seconds of fame. And it's a horrible life to live. You're chasing something that just isn't ever going to happen. So be yourself. Figure out who you are. And you don't have to figure yourself out when you're 14. You have your life ahead of you. But make your own decisions and be confident in your decisions and own your decisions. So be yourself. Don't let somebody else control you.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today. Hope you have a great day, Mr. Andrews, and see you next time.
Thank you for having me.